Hey, what's going on, fellow YouTubers? This is Robert Marzullo here with Ram Studio Comics, and today I want to do a demonstration, kind of like a walkthrough, I guess, of Manga Studio 5 EX. The reason why is got a lot of requests on what settings I might use and how I might do the artwork that I do. So I figured by doing this, I can inform a little, all of you on that. So hopefully there's some good information here for you for Manga Studio, which is a great software for drawing and inking and even some digital painting stuff. So first off, I start off with a canvas. I don't worry too much on the initial size, but I always work at 600 dpi. Love the quality from that. It gives me a good enough file size even at 5 by 5. But if I'm bouncing back and I want a more horizontal view, obviously I can maybe make this a 5 by 12. Wrong one, sorry. 5 there, 10 here, like that. So I got kind of a panoramic shot to work with, which I typically like to work in. Um, the other thing is, first off, test your brush settings. Make sure that you're getting a nice thick to thin. Obviously, when I start bearing down, I get the thicker line. I lighten up and I pull faster. I get a nice thin and sweeping line. Okay. You have multiple control undos, Control Z, like that. Sometimes it'll grab a few of them. I think if you do the strokes really fast, it counts that as one stroke. Kind of like if you know you go to grab some nachos and they're all stuck together, it's counted as one nacho. So at any rate, just the multiple Control Z's are fantastic to work with there. I love that. Some of the softwares don't have that, which is strange to me, but they might have some kind of history, you know, technique or whatever. Now, the other thing is you can use the bracket keys, which are to the right of the P. I don't know the actual name. They look like parentheses, but they're not. They're the squared off bracket versions of them to go up and down with your brush. That's in a lot of softwares now, and it's really handy, really fast. So you can keep like one hand on the keyboard, bracket your brush size up or down, and keep working instead of bouncing back and forth maybe to your sliders. Now the other thing, and I'm gonna be all over the place, so sorry about that, but I'm not used to really giving these demonstrations. So, but the other thing that's cool is you can customize your rollouts here, okay? And I typically have them on another screen, but for the purpose of showing this video, I put them all to the one side so you can kind of interactively grab, click, hold, and drag, and you'll see another area light up red, and that means you can drop it there if you want. I like them all to one side. It just seems a little bit quicker. But now when I put them on the other screen, I have them one on the left, one on the right. Um, they're great for space saving and speed. So you got your layers here. I've got this layer properties where I a lot of times use this blue line effect. I'll show you how that works. So I got a layer here. I start doing my sketch. I got my my character. Let me draw this real fast. Got my little dude here walking, got his hand up, talking, whatever. He's happy. He's happy. He's having a good day. Look at him. Yeah. All right, so there's that guy. All right, but now I want to go to my next layer. I blue line them just by hitting that button that fast, and add my next layer. I use raster layers. You can also do vector layers. I haven't got much into that, mainly because you can't export the vector layer as a vector. If you could, I'd be all over it like white on rice because I do a lot of vector design and graphics anyways. So if I could draw on a vector and export it, man, I'd be happy as you know, happy as is really really happy. But like unfortunately, you can't export it for some reason like that. So whatever, I just use the raster layers. They're still fantastic, great quality, and that's typically what I do my drawings with anyways. So there's looks like Jughead or somebody, but so you could just build those layers. You can blue line them really fast, which is fantastic for the kind of drawing that I do. So let me get that out of there. Okay, the rollouts, so I kind of, and you can move these around any which way you want. Keep the ones that are pertinent and important to you. I really don't use the navigator. I use this color wheel a lot. It's fantastic. You can grab color on the fly, and this color wheel is amazing. And you can scale that down too. So like, I wanted it to be, well, even by pulling this over. So if I slide this down, you get a real small color wheel. Well, I like it to be like this because you can grab and really see the colors you're picking, and it's once you pick that color, you just roll the the slider window back. So, what's the big deal? Grab that real estate and, be able to really see the colors you're grabbing. But yeah, this color wheel is fantastic. Love that. In your tools over here, there's some amazing stuff. The pencil tools. Let's see, oh, where's my sub tools for that now? Ah, there it is. Okay, so let me slide this down because obviously we don't need all this room for the brush density, hardness. This is real important in here. I wanted to spend some time in this area right here. Layers are pretty self-explanatory, and if you've done anything digital, you know how to work with layers. So I'm not going to get too much into that today, but right here is very important. So I'm going to grab the pencil. I'm going to size it up with the bracket keys, and I'm going to just kind of do some sweeping strokes. And actually, let me turn it to a gray because I want it to be more. Oh, I'm on a blue line. I guess I do got to go back to the layers. Take that blue line off right there, and so you're back to a gray. Okay, so you know that kind of looks like a pencil. I mean, this is what I use. I use a lighter pencil. I actually work with a really small pencil like this and do a lot of I'm real sketchy and do a lot of line work or construction lines with my drawings, and then keep refining with layers, overlay layers to get to where I end up with the more refined crosshatch style that I like to do. By the time I get a couple layers, I get down to the refined look, which looks something like that for stuff that I do or whatever. But the important thing is to mess around with the density to get it just the right effect, even grabbing the right shade of gray or black. Playing with these settings and getting the effect that you want for your pencil is very important because that's predominantly what you're going to use to make this artwork. So, and you can bounce back and forth. You've got a darker pencil here. Let me size that up so you can see it. And it looks like a marker. That one does to me. That doesn't look like a pencil. A pencil's going to have a little bit more texture. Let's see what this colored pencil's got. Yeah, so it's a little bit closer to a pencil line. Still not, you know, I guess the way you kind of feel like if it's a pencil or not is when you kind of do your fill-ins. Which you obviously can just say, oh, this is going to be inked in and X-Men. I like to draw them in. Here's a rough pencil. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, there we go. That's more traditional of a pencil right there. So it's got that little bit of grain to it, like that resembles, grain of a paper or something. So the rough pencil is going to give you more pencil lines like that. Now, as far as, and you can control your texture, density, stabilization, which I don't mess a whole lot with that. I must have it just at a good setting already. Stabilization, I believe, is where, if you do this, you're going to either get less or more rigidness to the line. So let's try that. Even though the one thing I don't like is I can't tell where it's selected on there. And I honestly don't see that much of a difference there. So I don't know if I'm using that wrong. But, the things that I will say to focus on are getting your density, obviously the size is going to vary. Texture density, maybe if you're looking for that pencil texture line, and just really playing with those settings. Now, the other thing in conjunction with this that's very important is actually the Wacom settings. And, depending on what you use. I use a Wacom tablet and a Cintiq and stuff like that. So I'm going to pull up the software, and I've got this pinned, excuse me, to my bottom, goodness, the little runner at the bottom of your window. Whatever the name of that is, please tell me in the comment section below. Alright, so anyways, here's the software. I found out that I actually tend to have a little bit more of a firm grip on this stuff, or a firm pressure sensitivity to the way that I draw, which I guess makes sense. I'm not very light-handed, I don't break stuff a lot, but at the same time, I'm a pretty big guy, I lift a lot of weight, so I get this firm kind of grip going on or whatever. So if you go here and start thinking with this and you're not getting, I like to be able to take and get a really thin line when I'm barely pressing down, and then if I want to just kind of He-Man it, I want a nice thick line. So if you're not getting that, that could be in here. you know. So I'm gonna show you, watch this bar here as I pressure down, and you should be able to control that with good, level. Like you should be able to slowly push down. If you touch it and it just goes right to here, then obviously something's not set right for you. You need that variance and pressure to get the most out of what you're doing. Now the other thing is this: depending on the model you have, you either have 1048, 1024, or 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity. So that's the other thing to take note of. You might not have a model that has the full pressure sensitivity, so you might not be able to tweak it as much and get as much out of it. But I've used both. They still, a lot of the problems I think that people face are right here. So if I take this down, say dramatically, over to here to a soft fill. Now let's see what kind of line I get. Look at that. I'm barely pushing down. You obviously can't tell, other than, see how I can't get that little tiny line anymore? That's the problem. And that's what I think a lot of people might be dealing with and wondering, what settings is this guy using? How's he doing this? You know, it's right here, I believe. So now I'm going to take it all the way to firm, and I'm going to see the difference now. See, like right now, I got a little bit of pressure on there, and I'm not getting a line at all. So now I have to really bear down to get that thicker line. And see, it fades off too quick. I don't like that, because now if I go to do a sweeping pass, I got to really push on that to get that line. I don't want that. So, it's finding that little sweet spot in the settings there. Now, for me, it was right here. I'll go back. Look at that. Nice sweeping lines. I can cross hatch really fast. I mean, I feather my lines anyways, and just so you know, feathering is repeating the line process and then blending out. Repeating the line process and then blending out. I like that. It gives me more control over the line. So, see if that's something you'd like to do. Also, if not, get your settings just right and get used to doing this, which it is quicker to just do those quick passes like that. I like to feather my lines. I think they look more interesting by the time they're done, and you have more overall control, I think. At least I do. So let me go back to the Wacom settings. Um, let's see. I had to disable everything because I accidentally click all these buttons. What else? Customizable, tip feel, eraser, calibrate. Uh, yeah, I honestly, and I barely use that. Honestly, it's right there. I mean, that's majority, and I don't. This isn't a demonstration on the Wacom so much as the as Manga Studio. So I'll go ahead and close that out. But I felt that it was very important to show you in case you're not getting the lines that you're looking for. So okay, the rollouts are great. You can shut these down really fast, and you got all your real estate there. Your pencil tool, we've kind of figured out that one is a little bit more textured, so you might want to go with that and control the settings in there. You can also make customizable brushes in here, which is great. Your inking tools, I'll be honest, I don't mess with that a whole lot. I think that right off the gate, the inking is the best I've seen, or right out of the gate, I should say. Um, And let's see, as far as which brush I use, I pretty much stay with the G pen. I mean, it's just, I mean, look at that. Those are great lines, right from Jump Street. I mean, that's pretty cool. As soon as I started messing with the inking inside Manga Studio, I was hooked. I was like, this is definitely the software I'm gonna use for inking. I mean, the lines look just like, I don't want to say just like a crow quill, but darn near. I mean, it's pretty good, and you can control them really well. The only thing you probably don't get that you get with the crow quill is the nice little happy accents that crow quills do. But you can kind of emulate them. Like you got this one effect the crow quill does where it's thicker towards the middle. There's kind of this little bump there, just by the way that you turn the pen. It just takes longer. You can pretty much do anything in here that you can do with a crow quill or a brush. It's just going to take you longer to emulate that effect. Um, and honestly, there's probably even custom brushes that are coming out that are going to eventually nail it. If they're not already out, forgive me if they are. I just go with what's already in here. And like I said, if I gotta emulate something, I just kind of play around with it. Like if you gotta kind of create some effect that takes you a little longer, I guess I look at it like at least you don't have the cleanup, because I use a crow quill and a brush here and there just because I like the hand feel of it. But you do have the cleanup. You do have you know, every now and then a mess that you got to white out and stuff like that, where here it's like, you know, no big deal. I've actually found myself, because I bounce back and forth, I've actually found myself inking on a project and I go to hit the Control Z button. I'm talking inking traditionally, like with a crow quill or brush, and I go to hit Control Z and I'm like, man, I am all kinds of messed up. Like, you know, I'm trying to find a keyboard over on my drawing table. But so, you know, you can kind of do effects like that. The brush is just really smooth. I don't know, it's really easy to execute with this software. Um, you know, like if you want, this would be kind of like if you were brushing the highlight portion or the shading portion of hair. You always do these like little brush lines real close together and blend them off to a nice point, and then they usually hit like a solid, something like that, and then the other, you know, other way, this way, other direction. I mean, it's just easy, you know, it's just really a good brush engine. So probably my favorite thing about Manga Studio is just the way that the ink lines work, and fast. You know, it doesn't. I mean, I'm recording right now and doing this. It's not hesitating. It's not. That's the other main factor that I want to point out to anybody that's trying to do this, and they, you know, are serious, where they, you know, might have deadlines and trying to produce on a schedule. Things like that matter. You know, nothing's worse than trying to draw something. You know, I've seen softwares where you do this right here, and it lags like crazy. I mean, look at that. There is no lag there. That's immediately responsive. And I'm recording, which taxes the system. So whatever they did here to make that work so fluently is fantastic. So kudos to those guys and how they were able to achieve that. Because I'll tell you right now, I love softwares like Photoshop, but the lag is so different. If I'm not working off my Mac, I can't even use that software this way. This I can do off a PC. You know, still pretty loaded PC, but no, you know, there's a big difference in lag. So, all right. And as far as the different pens, you're just gonna have to play with that, because in all honesty, I just stay with the G pen. Um, you know, I don't know if maybe some of these will be a little bit closer to a crow quill because they already have that bend. Probably do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm an idiot. I'm sitting there trying to do that effect on the other one, and this one is already set up to be more like a, you know, crow quill. But you know, like I said, I like the other pen. That's what I do majority, if not all, my work with. So, but you know, play with them. There's some great tools in here, and get into making some custom brushes. Get in with you know, different artists and bounce brushes back and forth. You know, that's another cool way to get effects that you want. So there's those, and let's see, one other last thing I'll touch on, because I don't want this to be too lengthy, and I'll do this will just be part one. I'll do different videos of this software because there's so much to it, but I just want to show you the main stuff that I've been being asked in the comments section lately. One of the really cool things about this too is the ability to digitally paint. Now what I'll generally do is I'll start off with the pencil tool, and I'll just do a quick little, I don't know, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I'm lost. A flower. No, not doing a flower. I'll just do a nose. Dun, dun, dun. News. Okay, so now just what I wanted to show you real fast is the shading in this is just fantastic. So I usually sketch it out like this. I honestly, I'll use the pencil tool for a lot of it now because the pressure sensitivity is great. You get a nice soft blend where you want. Um, you can tone down your density, and you still have just a little bit of too much, and you still have a little bit of texturing in there, which is cool for like digital painting, because you don't want you know, if you talk to anybody that does a lot of digital painting, they don't like overly smooth renditions, um, because it's not natural. You know, you just don't. You don't see a bunch of smooth people run around. There's texture, there's veins, there's, you know, there's grit in there. There's, you know, life is gritty, life is dirty. So you got to have a little bit of that in there. It doesn't look natural. So at any rate, you know, you just kind of get in there, do a little bit of shading. You know, it's already starting to look like a little bit of a charcoal drawing or whatever. But the blending is awesome. So you come into here, I'm on blend mode, and I'll up the brush size with the bracket keys again, and then I'll just kind of softly push back and forth, do some blending. And look how smooth, quick, and easy. And you know, you got to be careful you don't over smooth and lose all your texture. But for this purpose, I will, because I want to show you how nice this blends. How my setup is not lagging at all, which is big. Again, you know, especially if you don't have like this crazy, awesome computer that costs a ton of money, and you're trying to get this stuff done. You know, then you might want to look at this because it doesn't lag nearly as much. At least it doesn't on my system. So if it does on yours, I'm truly sorry about that. But I believe I've read through other demonstrations and things like that, and I believe it's the brush engine just works better on a lower amount of RAM or processing power. So you know, you see how quick that's blending. It's not lagging. You know, and then you're already done with that, and you're off to the next step, which is adding more texture. So you go back and, you know, start adding a little bit more texture back into that, getting a little bit more deeper tones in the areas where there's more shadow, and you just keep building upon that. You know, so now the other one that's real cool, you kind of want to bounce back and forth from, because sometimes you don't want to, like I said about the texture, you don't always want to blend that out of there. You want to keep some of that. So go back and forth from the blend to the blur. And the fingertip, if you're really trying to smudge around and get this really kind of overly painterly look. But sometimes if you just want to blur a line, you know, something like that. So you kind of mix that blur tool in there too. So you don't always want to blend. You want to blur a little bit. Then come back, maybe up the density a little more. Or wait, texture is brush density, and let's see, build that line back. You know, just about as quick as I can draw those in there. That's what's dropping down. So, but anyways, this isn't me trying to show you how well I can draw a floating nose and mouth. It's just mainly try to explain, like I said, some of those settings. So hopefully this has been informative. If it hasn't, let me know. If it has, also let me know. And let me know what else you'd like to see in the future on my channel, and what else you'd like to know about softwares like this. I predominantly use this for my penciling and inking. I use Sketchbook for a lot of just penciling, and Photoshop for some color work. But an all-in-one standalone software, I'll be honest, my true opinion is that this would give you the most for one software. And the other one great thing about it is that you can keep all your files into one file for doing a comic book illustration, which is great for unorganized people like myself, where things would just end up all over the place on the computer and I'm constantly searching. You keep it in one file, all your pages and your entire book till it's done, and you can export it to one single PDF, which is great, especially for digital comics. So hopefully this has been good for you. Shameless plug time. Check out Blackstone Eternal, my comic book. You can find it on Indie Planet. You can watch more videos where I do pages on YouTube here. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and thanks for watching. Have a great time, and good luck in the new year of 2014. Take care. Bye-bye.